So since 2004, when we had Hurricanes Francis and Jean, we have noticed a surge in activities with the hurricanes that we have been experiencing in the northern region of the Bahamas. As early as 2016, 2019 last year, we had Hurricane Irma, Hurricane Matthew, and of course last year with Hurricane Dorian. The three main things we noticed during those hurricanes that has been consistent in terms of the type of failures were high velocity wind failures from the hurricanes. Most of those hurricanes would have been in excess of 100 miles per hour winds. Also, in some cases, we would have had storm surges, like in Hurricane Matthew in the west end of the island. And then last year with Hurricane Dorian in 2019, most of the island of Grand Bahama experienced severe flooding, and especially in the Lucaya area where we are responsible for as the Port Authority. And of course, we know what also happened in Abaco. But we have noticed high velocity wind failures, storm surges as a result of flooding. And then the third one, which you don't talk too much about, but it's also observed, is tornadoes. We have noticed tornadic activities. We realized that we needed to put more focus on the resistance that contractors can employ in their construction, as well as the design professionals, the engineers, the architects, things that they need to pay more attention to address those three modes of failure: the high velocity wind, the storm surge, and then of course the tornadic activities. And so our Build Back Better document that we developed to share with the contractors as well as homeowners and the design professionals try to speak to those three modes of failure. And of course, we also touched on some other things like some of the other disciplines out of my discipline, the structural discipline, such as the mechanical, the electrical, the plumbing, what we call the MEP. So we also talk about some of the things that we notice as failures that usually occur during those natural disasters, hurricanes, tornadoes, storm surges, that sort of thing, that practitioners can actually use while they're doing their construction. It's presently a recommendation, but some aspects of it, we are dialoguing with the Ministry of Works from a national level, and just to see where we can enforce some of those things, make it more mandatory. Some of it also, I must say, unfortunately, what we have also observed, some of the ill effects from these hurricanes are due to poor workmanship. And so that's also another area where we have been encouraging the practitioners, especially contractors, to pay more attention. Something as simple as how they fasten their hurricane straps, the amount of nails they put inside. When they're covering a roof, instead of using nails that have what we call a smooth shank, meaning the shaft portion of the nail, it's very smooth, they try and use something that's not a smooth shank, but rather something like a ring shank. So you offer more resistance to that plywood being ripped off, or what we call the uplift effect during high velocity wind conditions of, say, a hurricane. The Bahamas, in spite of the devastations that we have had, our building code performs pretty well. It's one of the best, I would say, within the region. We know nothing is absolutely perfect, hence our recommendation to strengthen what we have already. But the current codes that we have are Bahamas Building Code, our local Grand Bahama Port Authority Building and Sanitary Code, a supplement to the Bahamas Building Code. They are very good documents. But I think with the addition of those recommendations that we're making, it would only make it much better. Most of us we have this big attic space that's unused, they could put like in place a pull down ladder. That's a very simple exercise. And once they put that pull down ladder inside the attic space, two other things they need to look at doing. They need to, one, probably put some additional plywood inside the flooring of the attic space to make it comfortable in the event they have to move to that location if they're going to remain inside their building. And then secondly, we have also noticed, especially from Hurricane Dorian, that a lot of people went into their attic space and they got trapped there. But the question is, once you're in there, how do you get out? So they might have to provide an escape hatch, something like a window that's accessible, easily accessible, and you also want to make sure, they would also want to make sure that it's sealed against leaks from coming in. The other thing we would strongly recommend is, if persons know that they are going to be in an area that's vulnerable to storm surges, to seek higher grounds. Our role is to safeguard and protect life as well as property. And so in enforcing the building code, be it from the submissions that are made with drawings that comes into our department, we are paying attention to make sure that at least the minimum code requirements are being addressed. Our department, the Building and Development Services Department, is here to prepare our islands with the recommendations that we have made for homeowners to protect their homes with those guidelines in building back better.